Allmendinger. AJ, for starters, what flavor Celsius did you bring in for us this morning?
Let's see. What did Fuji apple pear?
Okay.
It's whatever Jen gives me.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, beggars can't be choosers. I'll drink all flavors.
Understood.
Yeah.
All right. So we're getting to the quarter point of the season. Just how has the team in itself kind of either exceeded, met, or just, where do you think you've leveled out in terms of expectations you set at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, it's I think it's interesting in our situation. I'm not sure we set really any expectations. Obviously you want to go out there and run as good as possible. But in our situation, I think every weekend is kind of a new test. And I thought we started the year really well, and then we kind of went through a stretch of like Martinsville, Darlington. Vegas was, I think, probably our most frustrating weekend because we've been pretty good at Vegas and we just missed it. I'm not sure if it's the new body on the Chevy side of it, trying to learn that, or just us basically trying to guess at it. But yeah, I think that the challenge has been when they change the aero package, even some of the good racetracks like Darlington that we had good notes on, we can't really use those. So all in all, I feel like we're 20th in points, which I try not to really look at the points, but I feel like more than anything, whether it's a good or bad weekend, we've gotten pretty much everything out of that weekend, whether it was 27th in Martinsville, or last week we ran inside the top 12 all day, had a top 15. So we're finishing most of the laps, and we're not really making any mistakes. So far it's been okay. It's so weird. It's hard to last week say, oh, we ran in the top 15, we're happy with that, because it's tough to say that. But, in our situations, it's really good. So, I think if we can just have more runs like that over the next few weeks, I think we're moving in the right direction at least.
All right. Well, we can open up to questions.
Sorry that was a long answer with no real, finish to it. Believe me, I go through that in my head every day of trying to figure out what we're supposed to be happy with. I'm sorry about that.
No knock on you for that. We'll begin with questions. If you have a question, just raise your hand, and we'll do our best to get a microphone to you. Who wants to start us off this morning? We'll go with Tim right here, and then we'll go to Steven.
Tim Moore, Motorsports Day. Obviously, AJ, you kind of hit on not really knowing what to expect going into the year, but how different have the conversations, at least for you, have been not having an alliance, and then obviously manufacturer support, like going into a week, prepping for a week? Does the process become harder? Is it easier? Is it less meetings? How different is it?
I guess I look at that two ways. On the time side of it, it's a lot easier. I have no sim to do. There's nothing. I still go to the shop. I sit down with Trent, and we kind of go over the previous weekend and looking forward to, the upcoming weekend. My prep is still the same in the sense of how I watch videos and anything that I can find that helps me just feel like I get to the racetrack and I'm already prepared enough as soon as we drop the car on the racetrack. But yeah, I think for the team side of it, it's difficult. There to a certain degree. It's a guess every weekend. We are guessing. We're guessing at heights. We're guessing, especially when it's a track with a different aero package. You're guessing on how low, how high you want the car, what balance shift. As I said, it's a little bit tough too, because I think the Chevy body, everybody's trying to figure that out. So yeah, it's not easy, but we knew it wasn't going to be easy. What I'm proud about is, like I said, there's no mistakes on the race cars. We're running, all the laps that we can run, and I feel like, at the end of the weekend, we're maximizing, whether it's finishing 30th or running inside the top 10. I think we maximize it. So yeah, it's a challenge for all of us, but I feel like making the best of it. And I think as the year goes on, it will get at least a little easier.
In weeks like this where you come back with the same tire package as, let's say, the fall, does it make it at least a little easier for you guys to guess, even though the body obviously is different?
Yeah, I think it makes it a little easier, but the body definitely it had us thrown off at Vegas. For instance, like last year there, I felt like a good balance on the rear of the car. We were always just a little bit tight, but we had speed doing that. And this year we were just massive loose from the first lap on the racetrack, and we never got ahead of that. And I think that's the biggest thing with not, being on our own is if we unload in practice and we're good, like Bristol last weekend, we unloaded in practice. I thought we were decent, and that carries into qualifying, carries into the race. If we unload and we're way off, you're you're just literally taking a big swipe as much as you can with these cars going into the race. So, trying to have a good practice and hopefully we unload and we're at least fairly close is always important. But, yeah, it makes it a little bit easier. It's more just trying to judge the body and seeing what that balance is supposed to be.
We'll come over to Steven next, and then we'll come up front to Dustin.
Steven Stump, Furniture.com. AJ, it's going to be mid 50s today for practice qualifying, 70 for the race tomorrow. Is there anything for today's sessions that you'd be looking for in particular compared to a day where it'd be warmer out?
I think it's more. The temp's always going to give it a little bit more grip. So, I think trying to wrap your head around how fast you are in practice and knowing that the pace will slow a little bit in the race and trying to get those heights right for that. More than anything, fortunate a little bit that we're in the second group, maybe not on outright practice speeds, but, the ARCA race is going to go run. There's no rubber on the racetrack, and at least through the first half of that first group, I think you're just going to be peeling the ARCA rubber off the racetrack. So I think the second group will at least have a little bit of cup rubber down, but that's the biggest thing with this racetrack, I feel like, is a lot of rubber gets put down. You start running the top. You start searching for places that don't have rubber. So if you have speed, I think you're still going to have speed tomorrow, but definitely trying to counteract that with the thought of, okay, the O'Reilly race is going to run after we're done. There'll be more rubber on the racetrack. It'll be a little bit warmer. What balance do you need for that? But you just take the conditions as it comes, and being in the second group at least will help, I think, be a little bit closer.
Good. Dustin Levino, J-Ski. AJ, you said each week is a new test. What makes this place specifically so challenging for you?
I think just running the fence with so much speed, and knowing that you have to, you can make a little bit of speed running the middle or running the bottom, but eventually as the tires wear out, it goes to the top, and then even in qualifying, it's around the top. That's something that I'm okay at, but I think it's always, I'm always trying to work on that, be better, and figure out how to be faster and do things to be a little bit more comfortable doing it. Guys like Larson and Reddick and Blaney, they're so good at being right against the wall and maximizing that speed. So that's for me, just on a driver side of it. That's the toughest thing for me around here. If you can kind of move around and make speed on the bottom, I'm always really good at that. But yeah, qualifying's probably, I'll always say this is probably one of the toughest places for me to qualify over the last couple of years, just because you got to have the trust in your race car to commit down in turn one. Hell, last year they were wide open through turn one. The good cars were. It's up top, and that's tough to get yourself to commit to if you don't have a really good practice. And I think that goes back to having a really good practice. If you feel good with your race car, it's a lot easier to go down there than having a bad race car or being a little bit off and trusting it. So, at the end of the day, I think it's all about making the right decisions. If you think you can go and get it, go get it. And if not, fencing the thing and making your team work on it or go to a backup is not what we need in our situation. So maybe it hurts pride a little bit, and you got to just take what it gives you. But I do feel like with this racetrack, especially as the tires wear out, you can pass cars. I've started I don't think I've had great qualifyings here, and I've been able to drive up into the top 10 or near the top 10 if you got a good car. So that's something that makes it a little bit easier, knowing that you can go past if you're near the back.
Any other questions today? We'll take one from Caleb, and then we'll come right behind him next.
Caleb Vessel, SpeedwayDigest.com. AJ, what's been the biggest surprise about the racing so far under this new point system?
I don't. That's a good question. I don't know if anything's really surprised me. I don't know if it's part of it because I've been in this before. Some of these guys haven't raced this point system. I know what to kind of expect. In our situation, I don't think it changes. You're trying to maximize the best finish. It does help for a team like ours where, if you're ahead of somebody and they win the race and now they've locked themselves in, that was something last year I felt like, for the most part. We had a rough end of the year, but we were I felt like a legitimate kind of like that 16th to 19th place team, and next thing you know, you're 25th in points because guys have won and moved up. So yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like I still feel like it's so hard to win a cup race. If we're in that situation, I have a chance to do it, I'm going to do everything I can. I know, it only pays a little bit more points now, and it doesn't lock you in, but it's still about winning. And I think we've seen races come to the end that it's still about winning. It's important, even if it doesn't lock you in. So I don't think anything's really surprised me. It's just nice to know where you're at in points at all times instead of getting jumped.
Go ahead right here.
Landon Quisenberry, frontstretch.com. AJ, you talked about the fact that you're 20th in points and y'all have been maximizing as much as y'all can with the resources that y'all have. Does that make you more optimistic moving forward with the fact that y'all are going to get more improvements as the season go on? Do you look more forward to later on in the season when you come back to some of these tracks, or is it kind of just the same?
I mean, I think you hope that you're going to get more improvements. I believe that we will. But there's so much that goes into it. Heck, we could come back here in the fall and they've changed the aero package, or we've changed the tire or something. And, I think it's about doing the best you can every weekend and just getting the most out of it. And, working close with our group. I think Mike Cook, our comp director, is doing a great job. I love working with my crew chief, Trent. I mean, we have such a good relationship. I love my group. So it's in a way, it sounds extreme compared to what we are in this country right now. But in our situation, like, you're going to war together, right? Like, it's tough to go beat the Hendricks and Penske's and Gibbs and even run with them. Feel like you're even close to them. So it's just putting your head down and whatever we have for resources, just maximizing it. And that's something that we're trying to do. And hopefully, as the year goes on, like I said, hopefully that gets easier. But we don't know that until we get down the road. So, yeah, it's just like in life. You just do the best that you can. And, it's a week like last week. Got out of the car. It's like, yeah, do you want more than 15th? But could I look in the mirror and felt like we did everything we could? Yeah, and you just be happy with that. And if you feel like you've messed up, then you fix it and don't do it again.
All right, any last questions today? Cool deal. Well, AJ, appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck this weekend.